𝓤𝓪𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓬𝓮. Thank you so much for joining me here for your reading. How monumental, because it's 333 on the clock as we open up. And this message is all about profound growth that's happening with you. And can I just say, I think we hit the jackpot when it comes to the perfect setup. Like, this spot is just so beautiful. And I was just thinking about that actually yesterday. I was thinking about how in these different places I've been relocated to, it's almost like I end up finding the most magical spot on that last night. So there's something around you kind of finding that most magical spot within yourself at a time where you're not necessarily seeking it, but you stumbled upon it. And that could be in regards to something that you're going through in the physical. Anyway, there's been quite a few messages when it comes to life on Earth and it either being a place of hell or a place of heaven, and different planes of consciousness that you can kind of phase in and out of, different dimensions or densities that you can begin to phase in and out of, depending on what your biggest filter of perception is when viewing this experience. Like, are you looking at it through through the eyes of the human, or are you looking at life through the eyes of the soul? And a strong message that was coming through is that this realm is so multidimensional in the ways where this dream can become a nightmare, but it can also become the best thing ever. And it's becoming aware of when there are certain things that you're being shown within this dream experience, it is for you to be able to acknowledge and release it in order to be able to align with a more cosmic experience amongst the chaos. And that was like another message that was coming through as well. But with you, there's huge releases, huge releasing energy that you're going through. One strong message that was making an appearance for you was that certain things that are actually revealing themselves to the human. And I feel like this is the non-physical aspect of self. These are the things that not necessarily everyone can see around you, but it's something within yourself that you know is kind of emerging to be healed and integrated in order for you to fully release it. And it's about changing not just your point of reference, I'm hearing, but also your resonance to certain experiences in the past and being able to see that from a higher framework, being able to shift the frameworks in which you view this specific situation or feeling or circumstance and change your relationship with it. And a huge theme that's coming up is like changing your relationship to death, right? Changing your relationship to endings and being able to see that death as a glimpse into new dimensions, new octaves, new densities or frequencies within yourself, where new stories can begin to play out for you that align with this version of yourself, right? That are in resonance with this version of yourself. And that was like a huge message as well. So let me go ahead and tell you the downloads I was receiving as well. So the first message around you is celestial uterus, which basically talks about the birth of something new. And this is a celestial rebirth for you. And that rebirth I'm hearing is like a re-emergence or reintegration with your intentions before this incarnation. That's definitely what it feels like. There's like a realignment, and in order to get realigned with those intentions, there's a readjustment that the human has to go through. I was about to say readjustment period, so you may feel like you're going through like a readjustment period, right? Where I'm seeing the change of the wind card right now, which basically talks about a change in the wind when it comes to life storms, to remind you that no matter the chaos that's happening externally around you, you should not allow that to govern your internal state, and your emotional state of being or the connection that you have to the cosmos within should not be determined by what's going on around you at this point in time. Is also what I'm seeing it as. And it's an invitation to focus on not the things that you can see are happening around you, but actually, and this is like all the changes that are happening when it comes to reality reconfiguring itself, but actually what it is that you're connected to throughout it all, and coming back to that cosmic celestial connection. So this could be about the birth of a new project, this could be about a venture or something of this nature, but I feel like it is the birth of a new you. That's what it talks about, okay? And that can lead to you birthing new things into creation as well. Now, another energy that was coming through on the way here when I was walking to the spot, there was a lot of oranges that had basically been harvested, and there's something that you have to kind of prepare to receive at this stage in your life, and also prepare to let go. There's almost a release to make room to receive as well that's coming through. And with oranges, it does represent the sacral chakra, which can talk about exchanging your life force. I'm seeing somebody kind of call back their creative life force that has been entangled quantumly with certain areas of, I'm hearing what appeared to be an investment for you once upon a time, maybe because it brought you happiness once upon a time, but it no longer does. And there's something about honoring those needs, okay? Honoring those needs and rechanneling that energy. It does feel like there's a rechanneling that's going on right now as well. Now, you also have storm, which is pretty funny considering the wind. And the energy around you is that this isn't just a little, I'm hearing quiet and selective storms. Selective is coming through. Like, you can't just pick and choose which oranges are going to become ripe and which ones are going to stay attached to the tree. But I'm hearing when the time comes, this is inevitable. Eventually, the orange must fall from the tree. And that's what I'm seeing it as for you. It's almost like eventually there are certain shifts and changes and really evolution that we're all subject to while existing within this universe. There's universal laws that we're all abiding to, and there's something about allowing yourself to move through those ebbs and flows where I feel like there's shifts happening with you where you are now becoming unrecognizable, not just to yourself but also to those around you. And there's something about honoring that, okay? Honoring that. But yeah, this isn't just a little storm, okay? This is like a huge reinvention that's taking place with celestial uterus. It talks about a huge, huge reinvention. And then you also have Six of Cups and the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is Neptune energy. It's a higher octave of Venus. So there could be something about you understanding like your values and the things that you value most. I'm hearing even within yourself, right? Things that you really see the value of within yourself. Maybe these are things of value that you have to offer. And I'm hearing not just facilitate others with this, also facilitate this to yourself and the human first and foremost. And there could be something that you're seeing from a different perspective. You know, this talks about Odin hanging himself upside down on the tree of knowledge to look at the ruins of his life from a new perspective, to look at his life from the eyes of the soul. And I'm hearing seeing how the external chaos feels like there's an interruption to your comfort zone. But that's because there's no more room for growth. There is almost what I'm seeing it as, like there's no more room to grow in your comfort zone, and that's why the universe consistently keeps interrupting it through different characters that are showing up in your gameplay experience. And then you have the Six of Cups as well, so this is to illuminate something when it comes to your soul's journey. This is a Sun and Scorpio energy, right? So it talks about the interface of where your non-physical nature meets the physical vessel, and it's the intersection of where, you know, your soul meets matter, where your etheric nature meets matter. And coming back into, I'm hearing those cosmic alignments and those cosmic intentions that you had. Okay, so these could be like, I'm seeing it as like otherworldly intentions that you had, bringing it into this world or into this realm. But then once you got here, like there was so much contrast or so much, you know, illusion or separation between that heaven and that hell, right? That huge contrast. And it's like, how can you find that inner still sanctuary amongst the storms? How can you enjoy life's detours? And the only way you can do that is by enjoying the scenery, enjoying the view of witnessing everything kind of being removed that doesn't align with the highest possible expression of yourself, even if these are certain belief systems. And I'm hearing it feels like you're losing parts of yourself that had been companions with you along this incarnation. And I'm hearing even many before that. But all they were temporary companions. You know, there's something about this is such a temporary experience. This life is a chapter in your eternal journey. And there's something about honoring each chapter. There's certain things with Six of Cups that has, you know, played a role, it's played a purpose into the story of your life. But there's also certain things that you're seeing from a new perspective, and you're realizing exactly what purpose they serve, and you're honoring when things, people, or circumstances no longer serve a purpose moving forward. And that's the energy that's coming up around you now. There's a super interesting energy that was coming up with these downloads. So let me go ahead and share this real quick before we get into anything else. So the first message I was seeing was that encoded into each dimensional sphere of your vessel, of your etheric multidimensional vessel, and the architecture of that is soul contracts that have been coming up. And some of them are rooted in fear and some of them are rooted in love. Okay, so there could be certain characters that have been showing up in your story, and your ambition to come back into alignment with your soul's initial intentions before this incarnation could be intimidating to many, because you're now coming back into alignment with the inevitable. Okay, and I'm seeing the inevitable being the human condition lifting amongst the chaos. And the question becomes, how well did you live according to those intentions? How well did you live according to that love for the soul's journey? And when will it be that the decisions you make will allow you to honor those intentions fully? It does require the human to make certain decisions that are irreversible. And I'm also hearing unavoidable. Especially once I'm seeing like a soul contract be revealed to you that you had intended to experience for yourself. And it's like once you see that soul contract, you can't really unsee it. You know, it's like once you see the most expansive version of yourself, or your highest possible expression, and what that looks like, I'm seeing it within the Akashic records for you. It's like you can't really unsee that. I'm hearing any other way would feel like not just doing yourself a disservice, but also all other extensions of yourself a disservice as well, because you're supposed to shine your light. And that was another energy that was coming through as well, around you being a powerhouse. You are a lighthouse full of divine light, and you're gently guiding the way for others as you embody this truth, right? As you embody this ultimate truth. And it's seeing yourself as being an eternal being moving through the eternal now in this linear construct, and literally witnessing the becoming of what has already came to be, especially when it comes to your highest possible expansion and expression as well. And we have kayakers as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. I love it so much. I love kayaking. Okay, let's go ahead and continue before I get distracted. What was the other message that was coming through? Yeah, how well are you living according to those intentions, and how well you aligning your actions accordingly with that too. But yeah, these energies are being translated into this experience for you. So this could be about you kind of showing up for yourself, and knowing that as you do that, you also give others permission to do the same. Let me see if I can get back into alignment with that channel. But yeah, there's something about returning to that inner soul sanctuary. And you're also informing the quantum field right now via your frequency and vibration as well. And depending on what signal you're sending out, or I'm hearing transmission that's being received by certain opportunities or circumstances or people, right? Other souls existing in energetic potential. You send out a signal, that signal is received, and then I'm seeing, like people, circumstances, or opportunities align with that, right? It's like they come into alignment and in resonance with that specific station that you're tuning into. That's how I was seeing it. And it's understanding the resonance to those characters, right? Maybe it's where you have felt in some ways maybe like misunderstood by those around you in this experience. But I'm hearing it's because you've learned to understand much more than just this localized version of self. So this could be like a very specific archetypal manifestation, or I even want to say like a shell, or maybe like a personality that had been formed due to like survival. So maybe this is like a version of yourself that has operated based off of fearful beliefs, right? And it's like you understand this version of self, and there were other people that were kind of reinforcing this to you, right? There were other people that were kind of, maybe you have felt like the same or in resonance with once upon a time, but I'm seeing you outgrow the resonance when it comes to the cells of that nucleus of a family, where you're no longer reinforcing those same, I'm hearing even like investing, those taxing belief systems, and you've seen how functioning under those certain set of belief systems have attuned you to a very specific universe within the multiverse that allows you to manifest very, very contracted timelines for yourself, right? Myopic and limited timelines for yourself due to how you function under those certain belief systems there. And I'm seeing as soon as you kind of start thinking outside of the box, right? And that box being invented by people who are afraid, or that box that you had placed yourself in because you were afraid of stepping outside of that box, you begin to open up to new timelines. And that's the message that was coming through in regards to changing the way that you relate to death, and instead seeing it as an opportunity to enter into new octaves of yourself, right? New dimensions and new densities and new frequencies where new stories get to play out in your life, where it's like, okay, what kind of person would I be if I no longer knew that belief system to be true, right? Truth is multidimensional. So maybe I once believed this about myself, but maybe I'm reinforcing a new way of being. And I'm seeing a collapse of that old system, a collapse of that old timeline, and a collapse of that foundation that was built on the illusion of there being fear, right? Collapse because it was always compromised. That foundation was not going to support something new that was calling you, okay? And it's like you understood this choice point that you were kind of met with at that stage in your journey. And I'm seeing you're always going through that. I don't want to I don't want to say you're going through those phases, but it does feel like you can phase in and out of that, where it's like something could come to the surface, especially as you're about to enter into a new kind of way of being, to present you the opportunity to do something that you weren't able to do before. And now I'm seeing like when those same belief systems come to the surface, it's almost like you can look at that from a different perspective, and you can say, okay, this is no longer mine to hold. You know, it's like I integrate and I heal and I nurture this aspect of myself. I realize what it is that the human needs most in that moment. So maybe if it's feeling misunderstood by those around you, it's to be able to understand yourself. So when you become aware of your state of being, let's just wait for this boat to pass. Okay, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to wait for that boat to pass. But yeah, once you understand your own wounds, right, to that degree, you can then begin to understand the resonant connections, right? And we even have the devil here at the base, right? So the devil talks about limiting belief systems, you know, people, and again, we literally have the death right under that, right? With Anubis energy. So it's almost like there's a death when it comes to the ways in which, you know, you can kind of sabotage yourself, or I'm hearing kind of mirror back the wounds of fear to others. And there's something about you can mirror back a different kind of example, right? So I was seeing you kind of, even if it's just for a moment, coming back to yourself, right? And you understand the role that you decide somebody else plays into your life, okay? Especially when it comes to like this dream that you're existing in. And knowing that some people don't need to be in every chapter of your life was another energy that's coming through. There's a journey that you're embarking on that calls for this stillness amongst the storm. And this is knowing that once you cultivate that stillness, you can easily discern what's going on within the external chaos, and see how sometimes the chaos is, I'm hearing, a cosmic force that invites you to disrupt your own comfort zone. Okay, I'm hearing even to disrupt the comfort zone of others because you're no longer reinforcing the expectations that others have had of you as well. And as you do that, you actually begin to reveal to them a different way of being. And consciously or unconsciously, you're drawing in these different kind of contracts for soul growth. That's the purpose of them, always in the purpose. And in the your interest for soul growth, it's always in your best interest when it comes to soul growth. And there's something around now, you're drawing in conscious co-creations with other beings that occupy these realms in a higher octave or higher density. And what I was seeing was like your crown chakra, right? Your higher self and becoming your higher self in physical form, which is about your highest possible expression and your highest vibrational state of being, and knowing what that looks like, right? Being able to hold space for yourself, being able to hold space for the human, being able to look at life through the eyes of your higher self, right? Your cosmic self that's incarnated into this carbon-based life form to be able to experience life on Earth. And the variety of dimensions, frequencies that you can choose to attune or not attune to. And the energy that was coming through is like your crown chakra is expanding to that beyond the circumference of the earth, and it's like that is always your biggest filter of perception, and that allows you to step into this cosmic creation. And I'm hearing the ability and potential that you have to create in this realm, and choosing specifically what it is that you want to create. And that's the power of choice that's coming through for you. And it's like you were tuning into higher bandwidths of frequency light that's bleeding into your third dimensional experience. So we're seeing more supportive networks, right? People that are actually supporting and reinforcing the highest possible way of being instead of that contracted way of being, right? Other support systems that are coming in that are supporting your most expansive way of being. And the reason being so is because you've been able to support your highest possible expansion first and foremost. You've been able to support your highest expression in this lifetime. And I'm seeing as you kind of dwell between these different realms, right, of the contraction and then the expansion, it allows you to kind of find harmony within yourself because you understand the charge that you're putting into the system at any given moment in time, right? It's like you're very aware when it comes to, okay, this is truth. Sometimes I can look at life through the eyes of fear and I realize, okay, my biggest filter of perception is probably an imbalance root chakra where maybe I'm not feeling safe in my body, maybe I'm not feeling secure. Okay, well, what do I actually need most in that moment? And it's being able to facilitate that to the human. And it was really funny because the other day, right, I was on my way to 𝓵𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓬 and oh my gosh, like I needed to go to the toilet so bad. Like I drank too much water and I needed to go to the toilet, and I felt like at that point I was having an outer body experience because there was like nowhere to stop, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I really felt like a sim character in that moment. I felt like the only way to kind of handle it was to go out of my body and realize, okay, like it literally felt like I incarnated into a sim character. And you know how Sims, they when they need to go to the bathroom and they don't have those like levels right met, it's like when they need to go to the bathroom things start flashing red, and I was like, it's literally an emergency now. Like I'm telling the troll, like, no, listen, you just got pull over anyway because it's an emergency. um and in the metaphysical realm, that basically means that there's something that you need to release, especially emotionally. And that's why we're seeing it as uh, the relationship that you have to this avatar that you've incarnated into, basically this carbon-based life form that your plasma nature has incarnated into. And it's like, okay, what does the human actually need? I was looking at these different spirits showing me like these different vials, if you will, of like medicine and how you can nurture yourself and all the different ways that you nurture yourself. And how can you, I'm hearing it's easier to kind of prevent that than trying to reverse it. So there's something about prevention, right? And being able to facilitate what it is that you need at any given moment in time. And that's what I'm seeing, that's the energy that I'm seeing. It's like, how can you honor your needs and give yourself what it is you need before things get to that state? There's something about understanding the early signs, like really understanding the relationship that you have to your body and to your vessel, especially your emotional body. So maybe it's like, okay, maybe you're feeling tired, you're feeling sluggish, maybe the human vessel needs rest, right? Give yourself permission to rest. And that's what I'm seeing. Like, sometimes when the human feels like it wants to give up, it's not that it needs to give up, but sometimes it just needs rest, right? And there's something about giving yourself permission to do that, especially amongst like these life storms. And yeah, that's like a huge energy that's coming through. When do you need to release something? You know, give yourself permission to release, give yourself permission to move on. That's the energy that's coming through for you right now, which is super beautiful. But I'm seeing it as like, this is so far from base reality. There's other things that you're kind of creating in this realm that you're paying attention to, but there's something about rechanneling the energy back onto yourself right now. It's magical. Rechanneling the energy back into that inner still sanctuary, rechanneling that energy back into your internal cosmic networks. That's the energy that's coming out around you. So it's almost like this is a sim character. This is, and spirit showing me it as your rising sign, right? So it's almost like this could be like a huge archetypal manifestation that is subject to the cosmic forces of this solar system, and how the different planetary alignments can actually impact the carbon-based life form on Earth that you've incarnated into. And it's understanding the different energies that are being opened up. I'm also seeing like different things that are kind of coming to the surface for you to actually purge and release as well, and translate into a high octave. You know, that's another energy that's coming through, being able to alchemize and transmute that into a high octave as well. So I'm seeing you kind of change the way you relate to, again, death, changing the way in which you relate to endings in your life, because your vibrational state of being at the time of death is going to dictate what it is that you go on to experience. So there's something about being able to kind of leave off, I'm hearing, on the best possible state of being able to look at, you know, certain soul contracts or people that have played you know, a certain role into the story of your life on Earth, and seeing how that was the intention, with the intention for soul growth. How did that allow you to grow, not just in the physical and not just in the emotional, but also etherically, in ways that would not have been possible otherwise? How have you changed because of the circumstance? Not allowed the circumstance to change you, but how have you chosen to change yourself and shape yourself due to your experiences on Earth? And it's from that perspective that you begin to change, I'm hearing, your relationship to this realm, and you begin to actually have a deeper sense of gratitude for the variety and range of experiences that are readily accessible for you. And I'm hearing, once you understand that, you don't have to repeat it, but you must understand it. And you must understand how you have grown as a result of it. So yeah, that's a message that's coming through for you. I'm like wondering, I think we'll leave that one there. I'll probably do another one and then we'll get going. But yeah, thank you guys for so much for joining me here for this insight, and I will speak to you very, very soon. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. Love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. And yes, until next time, bye.